Hey guys, Figlo here, and this is just a little update video, just alerting you of anything that's happening on my channel. Um, yeah, so today is February the 8th, just in case you're wondering when I'm recording this, and it's just a few changes and one major change to the channel. Um, for one, I just want to bring up the fact that a lot of the time lately, I don't really speak that much in my videos, and there's two reasons for that. One, I'm not really a speaker when it comes to playing video games. I more prefer to play the game and just live on it. And if I'm doing side things, usually I do talk now and then, but when there's cutscenes, I don't talk most of the time, and other things like that. The other reason is the new house we moved into, the room I'm in with my computer, there's no doorway, and so I always feel weird just speaking out loud in case someone can hear me, because feel like, you know, that feeling when you're talking and there's no one else in the room and people know that and yet they can hear you, and just you get that weird sense of weirdness. Yeah, that's basically why I don't talk as much, but I do try to keep it interesting, and I think I succeed on that very well. Not much, but I try. So at the moment we're doing Assassin's Creed 2, we're doing Ace Attorney, Justice for All, and we're also doing Kingdom Hearts. Now, I've recorded a lot of series, and this was basically because I had no internet and I was bored while we were moving. I've completed all of the Ace Attorney games, and they will be uploaded after a while. I've started playing another game, Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. I got like 20 episodes of that recorded, and I will be uploading those and then taking a break. Um, that's when Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations will start. So Just for All will be taking a break, and then it will be Skyrim, and then it will be Trials and Tribulation, which will finish all of Ace Attorney for a couple of months, and then I'll start Apollo Justice. My throat just hurts a lot after reading all the stuff, and there's like 20 hours of gameplay just for Justice for All and Trials and Tribulation separate. Um, with Assassin's Creed 2, when that finishes, I will be playing a new game, Yu-Gi-Oh! Nightmare Troubadour. It's really repetitive, and I don't cut out battles, so if it's not your thing, don't worry, I have 3 series going on at once. Um, Basically, the basis of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is you have your own deck, there's a duelist tournament going on, you just move the cursor around fighting people, getting KC points, buying new cards, making your deck better, and that's basically what it is, and there's a storyline to it, but the storyline is rare. It happens every few days, and I'm like 6 or 7 days in. I'm not even sure, and nothing has happened besides normal fights and just you'll see. Something important has happened, but it's not duelist tournament plot related. It's plot related normally. But besides that, the duelist tournament hasn't really changed, and that's really annoying me. But hopefully, it's not boring for you guys when it gets uploaded. With After that, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood will be continuing. Be starting, and then I'm thinking of going straight to Revelations after that, and maybe something else after that besides Assassin's Creed, just to take a break. Because I don't like playing the same game one after another. I prefer taking breaks just in case it's not your thing, like anyone's thing. This is anyone can watch my stuff. I don't care who it is. Kingdom Hearts will be moving over to Watch Dogs, and the reason I'm doing Watch Dogs is because I really love the game, even though it has so much hate on it, and I really want just to be able to just get it out there. And the last series I did that was not complete, even though I did finish the game and recorded it all, but my computer died with all the parts on it, and I wasn't able to get it back until like months later, and then I realized, the video is very laggy, and I didn't realize this, so I'm just going to delete this and restart the whole series. So that will be continuing after Kingdom Hearts is finished. After Watch Dogs finishes, I will be playing Final Fantasy VII. Now, if that catches anyone's ears, I am a very stupid person with the Final Fantasy games, so that is exactly why I'll be starting to play it, get an idea of the game, and if it's anything like Final Fantasy VIII, when you have to go get your stats up really hugely to be able to be good, then I'm just going to follow a guide. Because I I'm like everyone else. I don't like losing, but at the same time, I'm not like everyone else. I don't mind losing. I don't mind repeating the game. I love being able to replay games. I had to replay Final Fantasy VIII so much times just to be able to beat the game. I replayed it like 3 to 4 times. When I say replayed, I mean like I got stuck in the middle and had to restart the whole game. I don't mean I bet the game and then replayed it, obviously. But Final Fantasy VII, I know that I'm going to be looking up how to get the ultimate weapons. And I do know that it's not like Final Fantasy VIII where if you level up, the bosses level up. So that we're going to be even better. I'm going to be grinding like fuck knows what. And I've never actually played the game, and it's supposedly one of the best. Now, a lot of people will love Final Fantasy 7. If you're one of those people that even though you love the game Final Fantasy games, that you don't like the figurine graphics, because I know the graphics are pretty old for its time, I don't care. I am not waiting for the remake. I really want to play the original version. I may play the remake when it comes out. But yeah. So that's basically all my stuff for my games. So the first series is Justice for All, then Skyrim, then Trials and Tribulation. The second series is is Assassin's Creed 2, and then Nightmare Troubadour, Yu-Gi-Oh, and then Assassin's Creed Brotherhood Revelations. And the third series is Kingdom Hearts, and then Watch Dogs, and then Final Fantasy 7. Get that into your head. And then the major change to my to my YouTube channel is a while ago, maybe about 3 to 4 months ago, I uploaded 2 videos, and they were audiobooks of me reading stories I had made personally. Um, there was one called Sky Attributor, which is a story I've been working on since I was like 6 to 7 years old. Sky Attributor is basically a story I really fell in love with because I loved. People may be connected to Avatar, but I never actually got the idea from Avatar, so to speak. I was really into the fantasy side of things, and I still am, to be honest. I really love the fantasy side of stuff. Like, not really. When I say fantasy, I don't. Usually when people think fantasy, they think dragons and stuff like that. No, I don't really care about dragons. I care about the supernatural powers. I care about the making your own world kind of thing and distancing from the real world and stuff like that. While usually fiction pieces of mine resemble the real world, like humans and normal cities, I don't actually connect it to the real world except for the human-like features and stuff. Sky Attributor is basically I'm very bad at blurbs, but in a common sense, it's based around a Sky Templar. In Sky Attributor, there's different colonies of people who control different elements: wind, water, fire, and earth. In case you don't know the elements. And if you're Captain Planet, it's Heart. I'm kidding. But main character Spike, cliche name I know, but I liked the name. Um, he was a Sky Templar, but he got exiled from his own people for no reason whatsoever. And the plot makes a twist to the point where Spike is hunted down by his own people and a mysterious man who wants him for a strange ancestral power. Now, originally in the original book of mine, that power was released early on. Like, literally, it was immediately happening, and there was no point to it. Like, it was mentioned a few times early on, and then it just went nowhere, even though it was meant to be the main reason for the plot. But then again, it's not meant to be the main reason of the plot. It was meant to be a want of the enemy. The enemy was meant to be the main reason for the plot. And so I actually redid the whole story. I wrote 6 books of the Sky Attributor series, by the way. And then I realized, oh, I need to redo the first book because I tried editing it. I tried going through it and editing it. And I could hardly understand what was going on. I was so young back then, I didn't know what I was reading. And so I just redid the whole story. I remembered a lot of it, and if I needed to know things more, I just read the original version. And I'm so far, it was like 30,000 words, and there was 21 chapters, and I'm only about halfway through the book now, not even that. And I'm already at around 50,000 words through the book, and I'm not even halfway through of the first book plot story. And I'm on to about 12th chapter, because my original book had about 4 pages per chapter, and the new book, I mean, has about 7 per chapter. Sometimes 6 if I don't have enough. Sometimes 5 if I don't have enough information for the chapter, and something big is happening, and I just want to end it off as like, I feel like when something really big happens, unexpected, I feel like if it's at a certain pace, like if something big happens at the 7th page or something, I just end it off, like chapter complete kind of thing. I like doing that because it just seems cool. But then again, I write my stories even though I'm not a pro writer. I have tried. I'm very good with my grammar and punctuation. Unless I'm typing very fast. In that case, sometimes I forget, and then when I edit through it, I know exactly how to spell certain words. I know exactly when punctuation is needed. Um, and so if I'm looking very carefully, I can tell, oh, this needs to go here, this needs to go there. So the other episode the other part that I uploaded was a Pokemon spin-off. It was my own version of Pokemon, a Pokemon world where I made my own Pokemon, made my own cities, made my own types of Pokeballs, and I haven't wrote those stories in a very long time, and I really want to get back into it. And so while I'm getting back into it, I'm thinking since I'm now in a uni class for professional writing and editing, I'm going to be getting back into my writing, and hopefully, I'm hoping to aim at roughly 2 to 3 pages writing a day. For Sky Attribute, I want to focus on one story at a time. Now, there are people like Stephen King, for example, who do 6 pages a day, and they keep themselves doing that and keep on editing them properly because writing is their life. Writing is my life, but then again, I've got my channel to keep you guys entertained, which I love doing, and I got my uni, so I'm thinking maybe 2 pages a day will be good. When I say 2 pages a day, that's roughly around 30,000, not 30,000, 3,000 words. So that's good. That's very awesome for how I like it. I may even write more because I'm a very fast writer and the ideas come to my mind pretty swiftly. But the big change that I'm saying is I'm going to be uploading videos besides gaming. They will happen. I don't really know, really. I'm thinking of choosing a specific date, maybe every Saturday, or no, Sunday, because if anyone wants to listen to them, they can listen to them while they're doing something on a weekend. But with Sunday, for me, since I live in Australia, it was like Saturday in America, so it will still be the weekend for all of us. So you could listen to it whenever you want, and just, yeah, comment how you like it and shit like that. Just keep in mind, these stories I wrote myself, and before I get into it, I actually got the Sky Troubadour idea from a manga. But before I get into that, um, with narrating, when I narrated those stories, I really had trouble with my breathing. Since I'm asthmatic, I really have trouble when it comes to keeping my breath for a very long time, which is why I love singing, but I really hate it when it comes to the breathing side. And yeah, I really wish I wasn't having trouble with breathing, but then again, I'd be dead. But I am going to be practicing a lot to try to just keep my voice at a setting where it's not too deep, but at the same time very narrating like, so I can read my story and keep my breath at a like breathing out at a minimum. Because the longer I can talk for without having to breathe in and getting myself to the end of the sentence, I can just pause the video, take a deep breath, get back to where I was up to, and unpause the video and just continue talking like nothing happened. And I think that would be very good. So the way I got Sky Tribute into my mind, now that I'm onto it, was there was a manga called Nejima, and before anyone even knows what the manga is about, yeah, I know it's a very pervy manga. I didn't know this at the time until after I read the first book, and I just kept on going because I liked the magic side of it. And yes, I am actually not a pervert when it comes to those kind of things. If I'm watching an anime with ecchi shit like High School DxD, I could not watch the hell out of that. I saw the first scene when you know what happened in the episode 1, and I just didn't watch it for a whole year. I ended up watching it, yeah. I was forcing myself, but I don't know why I ended up rewatching it. Maybe it was because, I don't know, I ran out of anime to watch, or I just wanted to, I don't know, watch it or something. I don't know. But Nejima was kind of the same thing, except for the fact that I liked the idea of it. While it basically was fan service, I liked the magic battles in it, and my favorite character in the whole manga was Fate. Fate, who rivaled Neji, and my favorite part in the whole manga was when he goes to the magic world. Neji's being trained by someone, and he's like, "Here's Neji. He's like 10,000 ships, and there's Fate. You are the weakest link out of all of them." I couldn't help but laugh at that moment. But there's a bit where a tournament's going on, and I forgot what his name is, but it's the wolf guy. He ends up being an enemy, but he ends up being a friend afterwards, and he doesn't hit girls. And so what he does is he runs at them, holds his hand out, and he stops suddenly, and some kind of air current pushes her off the field, making her out of the match. And I just thought, oh, he looks awesome, the spiky black hair and everything, just his look. And I got the idea of using his look as a similar look to Spike, and that's what made me get the idea for a wind element power. So yeah, that's basically where I got Spike's idea from. Funny story is, Sky Troubadour was actually originally going to be a school story. It was just meant to be a funny story that I was writing just out of boredom, and it turned into so much more. I don't know where all the ideas came from, honestly. I know that there's two extra characters in the story. Paul, which is meant to be a reference to Neji of Nejima, or Negi, whichever one, because he's a magician. And then there's a character called Laura, which is human. Um, well, I mean, later on you find out she's not, but that's a big spoiler. I just wanted to say that even though she's human, you might find out later that she's not, and then yell at me for saying she's human. I only said that, and then I always correct myself, and then I ruin everything. Great. But she's there for a while, and so is Paul, but they're not. They're more main side characters. They're there as the protagonist's friends, Spike's friends, sort of, but they're not really featured much because Spike is more of the type of person who goes off and does his own thing, especially if he feels like he needs to protect people that he loves. That he loves. Sorry. Um. So yeah, there's that. Um. But yeah, that's really all I wanted to say. I don't really know what else to say. If it goes good, the audiobooks, I will be continuing this as a thing. The more stories I write, because I write a lot of stories. I've got like 10 stories I need to finish I'm writing. Sky Troubadour. I've got a book called Overtaken, which is based around the villain's protagonist. Overtaken is basically about these two sides. I was really young back then, so I just called the good side the heroes and the enemy side. I don't know what I called him. I think I called him something. It was meant to be like an Assassin's Creed thingamajiggy, but based around elemental because there's two sides hidden from the humans. I don't know what I called him. I'll have to come up with a good name. I guess I'll call them the Optics for now. Maybe that's a good name. I don't know, the Optics, because they're based. All of them are based around certain powers. And oh no, it wasn't meant to be an Assassin's Creed thing. It was meant to be an Infamous thing. I've never played the game Infamous, but I do know you get a choice of the powers lightning, fire, and ice, and that's what these guys have. They have those choice of powers. And the main character, he is of, what do you call it? He's of, um, what's the term? He's of breed, I guess you could call it. His parents were these sacred beings. They were very rare, and they're kind of, while they did have the power to control ice, fire, or lightning, and the main guy Mark, he controls lightning. He his ancestral power is a little much stronger than that. And the main, well, I mean, not the main hero, but the hero who saved him because Mark's parents had died and Liam was there to protect him and take him back to the heroes and train him because he realized who he was. He gave him a very hard time during training, and mainly because it's not really explained why, and I won't explain why he gives him a hard time, but it was originally meant to make it that Mark becomes stronger in himself and uses that power to protect the heroes. But it turned into something worse, and Mark became not insane, but more full of hatred, mainly against Liam. I actually got the name Liam from one of my friends, so if Liam is actually watching this right now, I'm sorry. But um, the power is if someone with supernatural powers dies in a certain radius around you, and you know this is going on, he is able to absorb their power quantity, and it strengthens his own power in the process. It's I'm not sure if it's ever been in. I'm not sure if there's a power similar to it besides absorption, but the first story is basically he realizes what this power is by going to the enemy secretly and finding this out via some papers they have based around his. I guess I'll call them the sacred, because they're beings who don't really have a name. The sacred. They have beings upon the sacred with their power about the things they know, and one of them was that they have the power to absorb the They have the power to absorb the dying energy of someone who recently died, basically. And he finds this out and realizes that he can use this to his full potential. And since it would be very hard to just since there's only two teams that he knows of who have these powers, he realizes, oh, I can't just run and getting a war. I'll get myself killed. I can't just absorb their powers by going in and killing them. And so he comes up with little plan, and yeah, this plan was very far-fetched when I came up with it, but that's exactly what a writer does. A writer realizes what plan they want and then makes it into a really plausible, understandable thought. And the plan was originally that he finds a way to resurrect, or at least bring into existence, one of the three goddesses of these powers. I haven't given the powers a name, but they're just called the goddesses. And he plans to bring one of them into existence to help him. And by the way, that's sarcasm in case you can't tell because I don't know my webcam. Don't know where it is. And what he plans to do is summon the goddess while Liam is nearby, so the goddess ends up fighting Liam. But he knows Liam's power. He knows Liam is hiding something about his power and that Liam is much stronger than he realizes, which is actually found out very early on, but it's not explained why, as well as why he treated Mark wrong. So the goddess, well, that's what he plans to do. That's basically what he plans to do. You can probably already tell what's going to happen, but that's mainly just a little bit of the story that I plan to put in. So don't worry if you think that's a spoiler. Trust me, it's not. That's just the beginning. I'm sorry, I run a little overboard on that. I should have stopped at the point where I said he was going to summon the goddess. Well, I should have stopped at the point where I said sacred's power. I go a little overboard sometimes with my stories since I'm so happy about them. I love writing. Really, really love it. It puts me into a feeling where I'm in control, where I am able to make the world myself. And the reason I don't like writing nonfiction is because you really have to know about the event to be able to write about it in every instance. And I'm bad at that. I'm bad at being able. Well, I'm good at researching, but when I write something, I want it to be correct. I don't want it to be just a little bit off. That's bad. So I like being able to write my own stuff. But yeah, there is another story I'll bring up now. Sorry this update is going very long, but that's how I am. There's a new thing coming to my channel. I just want to be able to explain what's going to be featured. After Sky Troubadour finishes the first book, and then I write Overtaken and start doing that chapter by chapter every week, there will be another story called Superhuman. And Superhuman was another story I made. I think it was like the first story I ever probably made, but it's not the first one I finished. I finished Sky Troubadour first, and I finished Overtaken, and then I finished Superhuman. But Overtaken and Superhuman were lost. They were on a hard drive which died, and then we lost the hard drive somehow. I don't know how. I think they retrieved the data off it, but they never got the stories off it. Yeah, I think that was it, and that's why I thought I lost it, because they never got the stories off it. And so I lost those stories together, but I know the information of it slightly. And Superhuman was basically a connection to Sky Troubadour. So was Overtaken. A lot of my stories are all connected to each other, and basically because I guess the only way I can explain this is if you've seen Marvel Avengers, it's like that kind of thing. I'm connecting them all for a connected story that I really want to do. And yeah, I got the idea from Avengers. So patronize me all you want, Avengers fanboy. Yeah, I love Avengers. I haven't seen the second movie, but I love the style how Marvel is all connected, and I like doing that with my stories. Now, but Superhuman on its own was based around this person who, at the start, it basically just starts off with him saying he's dead. He died, and that he's been brought back somehow. That a year after his death, he was brought back suddenly and has no idea what's going on. His mother, he tried meeting his mother in disguise because he realized what would happen if he went to her normally. And she didn't know who he was under the hood. Um, and, well, he ends up meeting this person. What's her name? I forgot what I named her, like Sarah or something. Oh, by the way, the main character's name is Jacob, by the way. Um, but she ends up being the same kind of person as him, a superhuman. She calls herself, and so do her friends. Um, oh wait, no, I'm going way too late in. He originally meets up with one of his friends. That's it, one of his friends. And only because he trusts him more than anything, and the friend realizes what's going on. He says his story, and he realizes that that Jacob needs help. The guy's name. What was the guy's name again? I think it was Luke or something like that. Yeah, Luke. It's been a while since I wrote it. Sorry, but Luke takes Jacob in as a friend and it keeps him hidden from everyone. Um, yeah. What was I? Keeps him hidden from the world. Um, ends up showing him his own place, etc. And it gets to a point where he meets someone else, a girl, who ends up helping him understand who he is because Liam has no idea at the time. Sorry, Jacob, thanks. And the girl, I think it was Sarah or Alice or something, completely forgot, sorry. I'll probably make up the names all over again, but I'll call her what I'm calling her now, Alice or Sarah. Sarah then. Sarah's much easier. And well, Sarah turns out to be a superhuman as well, and it turns out the superhumans are actually connected to the Sky Troubadour in the way that their necromancer summons. But not in a good way. I'm not in a bad way. Usually when necromancers summon something, they're undead. In this case, basically, this there's something special about the necromancers. They can summon someone to fight for them as undead, or they can infuse their power into someone that they brought back to make them living again, but have their own kind of power in necromancy kind of talk. In this case, a unique power that Spike has throughout Sky Beta is what I call the shadows, or necromancy. It's my version of necromancy. Usually necromancy is the rituals of the darkness and summoning the dead. In my kind of talk, necromancy is basically controlling the shadows, manipulating them. And when I say manipulating them, I mean shadows are on the ground, but necromancy allows you to lift them out of the ground into a solid shape and form them into anything your mind can come up with. But most of my stories are based around imagination. If you can imagine the power doing something, you can imagine the power in certain ways, it can happen. So like if you wanted the shadows to become a sword, it becomes a sword. If you wanted them to become a sharp-ended poking stick and sharp and long at your enemies to stab them through the chest, it can do that. And the most awesome ability I like is the most unique favorite power that I like is that as long as you're strong enough, sorry, I keep on cutting off because people keep on trying to talk to me and I have to pause the video. The most favorite ability I like about the shadows and necromancy altogether for Spike, you have to be strong enough to be able to do this because it involves manipulating a large amount of shadows. There's two things. One is being able to expand them, basically growing the shadows into a larger amount than it originally was. And that's basically because I believe in the term that, what do you call it? That darkness is infinite. And I also believe in the term there's a little light inside the darkness, and that is explained later on in Sky Attributor. That actually comes into existence with Spike's shadow powers. But basically what I mean by darkness is infinite, is that strong necromancers like Spike are able to expand the shadows into a greater force, greater force than needed, or greater force than they originally were. And with this, he can also attach the shadows onto someone, or something. And the shadows can eat through anything he wants. And when I mean that, I mean it. Like, the way I made it is that the shadows are not only a living source, but they're also a gateway to their own world, a mysterious gateway to a infinite spatial dimension, where Spike can actually cause people to go inside of it by throwing them into a barrier of shadows and trapping them inside. Usually if he waits too long after chucking them in, they'll just be chucked right back out. And he uses this in defense a lot. But if he were to close the barrier right when they were in, they'd basically be trapped in that world until the shadow barrier was formed again, and then they'd be shot right back out. They'd be trapped in, they wouldn't be able to die, they wouldn't even be conscious. They'd just be shot back out after it was pulled up again. But the shadows can cover an object or even just simply touch an object, and while I do say eating, what I mean is just transferring it to their own world and causing it to become nothing. Literally nothing, not even ash or stuff like that. Another thing about the shadows is that it can simply, since shadows are basically like a second self, they go onto the ground and they don't really do anything. They pass through things easily, and they just seem flexible and whatever. They seem like they're not even harmful. When they pierce someone, they can, if you, it depends what you're telling them to do, really. But the way Spike does it a lot, and what I've made him do a lot, is that when they pierce through someone, they stab through someone, they can slip past the skin into their body and just crush their bones. Literally, it's the most painful thing you could do to a person, and it's the most common thing the shadows can do. Just cause none of them to be hurt on the outside, but their bones inside just feel like they're crushing, and they literally are, causing them to go limp. Anyway, back into Superhuman. Their power is a little weaker because it's only a little bit of a necromancer power, but it can grow on itself as long as they are able to cope with it. Necromancy also feeds on the evil in a person's heart, by the way, which is explained a lot through Skyrim with Spike becoming more a little on the evil side. Necromancers are usually always evil. Necromancers are usually a little more evil. But if you're able to control them, you can actually keep your personality very well and still control them. You just got to keep ahead of them. But I'm not going to spoil anymore. Those are the stories that will be showing up first. Since it will be a weekly thing, I'm going to decide whether I should do a chapter a week or maybe 2 chapters a week, like one on Saturday, one on Sunday. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Since I like pushing out things fast because I don't want them to take too long and people getting impatient, like I really want the next part, I really want the next part. I might do one Saturday, one Sunday, because weekends are really the only times I'll be free to read them because I'll be so exhausted the rest of the days. But otherwise, that is the end of this update video. I've been talking for 30 minutes and I really, really don't want this to go for any longer. So those are the new things. The new gameplays are going to be Ace Attorney, Justice for All, which is already going, Skyrim, and then in Trials of Tribulation. There's already Assassin's Creed 2, then it's going to turn into Yu-Gi-Oh! Nightmare Troubadour, and then Brotherhood and Revelations. Kingdom Hearts is going to finish, it's going to become Watch Dogs, and then it's going to become Final Fantasy 7. And I'm also going to be adding audiobooks on Saturday and Sunday for Sky Tribute first, and then Overtaken, and then Superhuman, which my own written stories, and if you like them, thank you very much, and I'll make sure I keep on uploading them once they start uploading. So otherwise, I will see you guys next time. Thank you for listening to this update video, and I will see you guys whenever I see you. See ya.